Hi, my name is Jacqueline, and we're going to talk about changing the culture of misogyny. First of all, I just want to say my kids hate my hat, but it's okay. It goes along with what I'm saying today. I was having this contentious discussion with someone who didn't understand the depths and the value of hip hop as a culture and how important it is to protect, to document, and to preserve the original spirit of the hip hop culture when it was founded just over 40 years ago. The music has been the soundtrack to my life since I was 5 years old, the subculture I grew up in, and I know how crucial it is that we define the attitudes and behaviors towards women in our culture. We can't let outsiders define that. My contribution of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, along with the occasional photo shoot or video shoot, is small, but in my opinion, is very necessary to help shape that narrative. Mainstream hip hop, as we now know it, is not what the original artists and founders of the culture established, but what has become as a result of the culture being co opted into mainstream American culture. With that being said, do we have to take the bad with the good? American culture has had misogyny and sexism deeply embedded within the institutions, the religions, and the corporate culture for years. How do we significantly shift the culture of misogyny and change attitudes and behavior towards women over the next generation or two? In the vein of edutainment, which has played a huge part in hip hop culture, we must provide a theoretical education through entertainment. Number one, understanding identity theory, expanding the definition of family as a social construct, one which socializes us and teaches us gender roles and identity. Number two, having a grasp of social identity theory, how we relate to the group and how this reinforces our self-identity and our sense of belonging. Number three, social cognitive theory, the direct and indirect influence of environmental factors such as corporate profits, social media, stereotypes, recognizing what gender roles look like and redefining them is necessary. Consciously changing for the purpose of empowering women, changing attitudes, and ultimately changing behavior toward women. These are the outcomes we're looking for. Number four, Freud's psychoanalytic theory, beginning personality and gender identity construction in childhood. We know this starts early, so we have to start early. And five, addressing Fredrickson and Roberts' objectification theory, how women internalize beauty ideals and measure their self-worth based on appearance and self-objectification. This results in many psychological disorders, including sexual dysfunction, depression, and eating disorders. Due to the sexualization and dismemberment of women's body parts, this contributes into rape culture and other dangerous behaviors towards women. Studies show that exposure to songs with pro-equality lyrics lead to more positive attitudes toward women, and I believe that Rage Against the Ratchet serves the purpose of delivering the necessary messages via social media using mobile technology. Using Rage Against the Ratchet as a platform, along with a longitudinal study to collect data, educate, and implement content to influence subjects whose attitudes and behavior toward women will later be measured, will show us a gradual shift in how misogyny manifests in society. While hip-hop gets a bad rap for being heavily misogynistic, I posit that hip-hop did not begin this way, but has been and is very heavily influenced by the mainstream corporate culture to maximize profits. By exploiting women's bodies and capitalizing on the sexualization and often dehumanization and stereotyping of women for profit, this follows a long-standing tradition of American culture. Yet hip-hop is always a scapegoat for all that is wrong with America. I don't agree with all that hip-hop has come to represent. However, much of the danger has come from the mainstream influence on the culture, which again did not create hip-hop to begin with. If hip-hop culture has taught me one thing, is if you don't like something or if you don't agree with it, you don't sit around and complain about it. You get up and you stand up and you do something to influence the culture to change. Examples, hip-hop redefined the meaning of dope. The bottom line is, if we want to see change, we have to make change. It's not the first, nor will it be the last time that we have to make something happen. Hip-hop sets trends, but in the case of misogyny, we are following America's trend. Start with yourself in your own household. Advocate for owning your own body. Recognize the signs and dangers of teaching our sons and daughters otherwise. Change your attitudes and stand up against the exploitation and sexualization of our bodies.